She's the new host of ESPN's NBA Countdown. It's Sage Steele. Congratulations on the new gig there, Sage.
Thank you, Dan. I'm so ready to just get there and get on the air. You know, it's just been a long couple of weeks once they decided to give me a shot here, so the countdown is on for sure.
But when you do these mock shows, you'll do rehearsals.
Yeah.
How difficult is that? Because in the moment, it's going to be completely different. It's like when you have a practice game or an exhibition game, and then you go in and play a real game. What do you try to accomplish these mock shows with Bill Simmons and Jalen Rose? Was Doug Collins in the mock show as well?
Yep, he was there. I mean, that's the thing. It was literally one day we put together a half-hour show, and you just kind of wing it. I mean, first and foremost, I hate mock anything. Even when you tape segments, you know, for SportsCenter, I don't feel like I'm ever as good because you know that you're not live, and so you can stop down and do it over. So that said, I mean, that was the first time the four of us were in a room together, was when we did this rehearsal last week. So, hi, nice to meet you. Let's go, you know, create beautiful chemistry on television. But the cool thing is that the chemistry was there, and you know me, Dan. I'm not just saying that. I was pleasantly surprised at how well it went. Well enough so that we said, well, what the heck? Let's just tape a couple of real segments that SportsCenter can air between now and opening night. And we taped 3 of them, and it was really fun. What I think my definition many times of if it went well or if it feels good is if you forget that you're on TV. And we were just having a conversation, and I forgot I was on TV, which is dangerous, but it's a good thing in this case.
Well, what's your role?
Host.
But
traffic cop is
yes.
what some people like to say, and that's okay. Call it what you want. The point is, we've got 3 very good analysts. I'm not an analyst. Doris Burke is an analyst and a host. Her role is going to be different from mine when she does Wednesdays, and Doris Burke is one of the best in the business, and she's someone I really admire and look up to. But I ain't an analyst. I mean, I love this sport. I know a lot about this sport, but I'm the host. So in many ways, it's not different from SportsCenter, except it is more of a conversation versus highlights and interviews like that. So, I mean, trust me, I plan to stay in my lane as that host. But when need be, jump in, push back, challenge. But I think it's a very defined role.
Talking to Sage Steele, ESPN NBA Countdown host, pioneer, the importance of this role. I don't know if that factors. I didn't think about this until the Danettes said, wow, does she look at herself as a pioneer when you're hosting something like this? In women in sports, African-American women. I just thought of you as hosting it, but your thoughts on that?
No, I don't like the P word. I don't like the pioneer, at least not with me. I mean, there's been so many women who've come before me and so many other fabulous countdown hosts like the guy I'm talking to right now. You know, so no, I don't view it that way. And maybe I should. I don't know. Maybe it's shame on me because, yes, as a woman, they haven't had a woman do this role before, not to my knowledge, at least not on ESPN for sure. And the African-American part, although I got a white mom, my mom counts too, right? So I'm only biracial. I mean, she was there. So maybe I should more, but I just need to keep it more simple for my head, you know? I can't make it that deep. If people view it that way, that's awesome. But for me, I'm just doing my job and an awesome role that I am. Honestly, I was shocked when they asked me, Dan, but I jumped at it. You know, it's a no-brainer.
You didn't hesitate?
Well, let's see. I'm live on the radio. What should I say? My real only hesitation was the fact that it's a ton of travel, and I live in Connecticut, and the show is in Los Angeles. So it's good for my frequent flyer miles, but I have 3 kids at home. And that's tough. So that's why I did hesitate. I mean, I was in the middle of a contract negotiation anyway. So I'd been thinking, who knew what could happen? You know, there were some changes that could have been on the way. But when this came, this is one of those opportunities. And my inclination was to say, heck yeah. And I had a big smile on my face. But there are a lot more things that needed to be worked out because, honestly, home comes first. That's the way it has to be for me.
And I wouldn't get caught up in, you know, that what other people see in you. If you do your job, then you'll be sending the right message to those who want a message sent to them or want to read into it.
Yeah, and you know what? Even if I do a good job, I'm gonna hear it from the haters. There's going to be people who don't think I belong there. But guess what? in 18 years in this business, it's happened quite often. It happens on a daily basis. So through the years, I've grown that thick skin. And, yeah, they can look at it how they want. That's why I don't think you appreciate the good and you appreciate the bad as well. But I don't know. I try to avoid all of it because I don't want to get, too freaked out on either side of it. So stay in your lane, and that's really going to be the key for me because I have major ADD issues anyway. I need to focus on one thing and one thing only, and that's kind of the cool thing. Love SportsCenter. That was my goal, my dream since I was a kid, but I've never had an opportunity to focus on just one sport and really own one sport. So that, to me, is the coolest part.
Give me the ego that you're more concerned about on the Countdown show.
I knew you would go there.
I waited a while. I waited 6 minutes for that, Sage.
Yeah. Well, we all know it's Simmons, right?
Yeah. Okay. That's fine.
Okay. Yeah. Here's the thing. I've spent, last week was a couple of hours with Simmons. I did the upfront with him, I think, 2 years ago. And sometime at the NBA Finals, in those fancy schmancy trailers outside of American Airlines Arena when we get ready to go on air, I was leaving. He was coming. So I don't know Bill Simmons well. What I do know is that he's all in on this team. I don't know how it was in the past. I mean, we've all heard things, and frankly, we saw things. But I can't care about that. He has treated me great so far. And afterwards, after the mock show, I went over to him, and he and Jalen were talking. And I've known Jalen since he was a Pacer back in the mid-'90s, so he's been a friend of mine forever. So I went over to them and just said, hey, what do you have for me? Is there anything you want me to do differently? And, Bill said, well, I didn't really love the way you asked that question. I was like, okay, well, tell me. We talked about it in the meeting, so tell me, and let's communicate, because there's no way we're going to really, really make this good unless we're all communicating. And he was like, awesome, great, because he just doesn't know me. I'm as open as anyone out there, and maybe too much sometimes, but I feel like it's kind of on my shoulders. It's my responsibility. Theirs, too, to make this work, but I think he is all in. And if he isn't, then it'll show.
Could you beat him up?
I could totally take him. I think I weigh more than him.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And that's what you should say to him before you go on. Look, you got a problem. I could kick your ass, Bill. Now let's go have a great show.
And honestly, he knows that. I mean, come on. Especially when I wear my big girl shoes and I poof up my hair a little bit. I mean, I can take that from him.
Well, good luck with it. Is today your anniversary?
It is. Oh, you check Twitter. It is, yeah.
Happy
14
anniversary.
Years. Thank you. I was going to say the Sandy, the Superstorm Sandy, and then the year before, you remember the 30-some inches of snow. I think maybe that was the ice storm. Both happened on my anniversary. So I was beginning to think, is this an omen? I mean, are we not supposed to be together here after all these years? So I'm glad that we don't have 3 feet of snow or a hurricane coming in on today. The anniversary, 14 years. He hasn't kicked me out yet, Dan.
Well, here's the thing. The travel's going to get to you.
Yeah.
And being away from your kids will get to you. But, just understand that you'll do great in the moment there. You can't do half one and half the other. It just won't work. You'll be all in doing the show, and then when you're at home, you'll be all in with your kids. But trust me, that beat me up. And that was the hardest part of all of it, was being away from home on the road. So you're going to have to, that's where you're going to hit the wall one day, and you're going to go, I'm bummed out a little bit here.
Yeah, and I honestly, I have mom guilt, Catholic guilt, Black guilt. Like, what other guilt is there? I have it all. And so I told my husband, I've got to let go of the guilt here.
Yes.
Because I have to do this, and it's an awesome thing. And when I am home, then you're all in, and you put down the iPhone, and you stop tweeting and texting, and you're all in. But and Adam Silver gave me some really good advice, because I'm going to be taking a lot of red-eye flights back after the show. Ambien. He said, don't be shy with your Ambien, and go for it and pass out. And now, they have a direct now, Dan, from
I heard
to LAX. It's a beautiful thing.
Yep. This is. I'd still be at ESPN if they had that.
Oh, stop it.
No, I don't. No. I'm rooting for you. Love you. And I know you'll do a great job. And don't let them boss you around, all right?
You know what? They can try, and I'll smile. Actually, I'll text you in between if I have issues, and I know that you'll have some choice words for me to throw back at them.
Good luck, Sage.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me on.
All right. Sage Steele, ESPN NBA Countdown host.
The Dan Patrick Show. weekday mornings on Audience.